Good morning everyone. Today let's begin with the third chapter of geography, motions of the earth. As we know that earth moves. Earth is not still, it's not fixed anywhere. It moves. The motions of the earth means the movements of the earth. There are two types of movements of the earth which we are going to study, that are the rotation and revolution. What effects are caused by the movements of the earth also we will study in this chapter. We know that the earth has two types of motions or the movements which are namely known as rotation and revolution. These are the two types of movements or the motions of the earth. Rotation of the movement of the earth on its axis. We have already studied what is the axis. Axis is an imaginary line which passes through the center of the earth, where we can find here the axis on which the globe is fixed. So globe is fixed on the axis. So the earth moves around its axis, not moving around the sun, around its axis. This movement is called rotation. Revolution is something different. Okay. Now this is the first movement of the earth which moves. The earth moves around its axis is called the rotation. When it is rotating, at the same time it has another movement also which moves around the sun also. Okay, the movement around the sun in a fixed path. So that we call in an elliptical shape. The earth moves around the sun in an elliptical shape is called the revolution. Okay, so two types of movements of the earth. The earth moves around its axis, that is called the rotation. At the same time, along with the rotation, the earth moves around the sun also. That is in a fixed path. It does not change its way or the directions. So these are the two types of movements, rotation and the revolution. So the axis of the earth, which you know that it is an imaginary line. For our convenience we have fixed it, but it's an imaginary line. It makes an angle of 66.5 degree with its orbital plane. We can find here earth is not exactly straight. You can find here North Pole and South Pole is not straight. It is an inclined position. Okay, so the earth receives light from the sun. We have studied that earth is a planet. It does not have its own light and heat. Earth receives light and heat from the sun. So due to its spherical shape of the earth, only half of it gets sunlight from the sun at a time. Okay, we can find here earth is not flat. If it is flat, all the places of the earth will receive the same amount of sunlight. But it is spherical or the round shape, so that only the half portions of the earth receives sunlight. Okay, we can find this portion, okay, and the back side or the other side of the earth is always dark. When it is rotating, these directions or those side also gets light. Okay, so because of its rotation, we can find all parts of the earth receives sunlight at any time. Now what is the time? Now we can find one side of the earth receives light, the other side remains darkness. Okay, so this portion facing the sun experiences day, while the other is away from the sun experiences night also. This region where it is facing the sun is day, and the other part of the earth or the globe is always dark, okay, for some time. And again, when it moves or the rotates, we can find all parts of the earth receives day and night. Okay, alternatively day and night are receives the all parts of the earth. So the circle that divides the day from night of the globe is called the circle of illumination, which means we can find this circle, this area, and up to here. Okay, this circle or this area which receives the sunlight. Okay, this region is known as the circle of illumination. It rotates so that all parts of the earth at any time receives the light also. So this circle does not coincide with the axis because the earth takes 24 hours. We can find that it does not axis is an inclined position also here. Okay, so here we can find find the earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. You see from here, when it starts morning and it is becoming noon time, evening and night time. Okay, so for completion of one circle or the complete rotation, it takes 24 hours. Earth takes 24 hours to complete one full rotation. Okay, so around its axis. So this is called one day or one earth day. Okay, this period of rotation, which it takes 24 hours to complete one rotation, is called the earth day. So this is the daily motion of the earth. This daily or 24 hours it moves, goes on. Okay, so what would happen if the earth does not rotate? You see that if it is fixed here, the portion of the earth facing the sun would be always experience a day. And what about the other part, the other side? It would remain in darkness and always it will be very freezing cold, this other side, and this side which faces the sun always receive the sunlight, and it will be extreme warm also, extreme hot, so that there will be extreme conditions of climate can be found on the regions where the sun faces. Okay, the earth faces the sun, always will have extreme hotness, and the other side remains extreme cold also. So this second motion of the earth around the sun is in its orbit, which is called a revolution. We can find it moves, the earth moves around the sun in a particular path. It has a particular way for moving. It does not change its direction or the path also. So this path, it's also an imaginary path, we can say. We call it as orbit. Okay, so the orbital path, the earth moves around the sun in an orbital path, which is called the revolution. So for that rotation, we already studied it takes 24 hours only to complete one rotation, full rotation, so that day and night occurs. For completion of a revolution around the sun, the earth takes 1 year. Okay, we call it as 1 year. When it completes one revolution, which is called 1 year, that means exactly when we are taking the time, we can find 365 and a quarter days. 365 and quarter days to revolve around the sun. We consider a year consisting of 365 days only. Okay, every year we consider 365 days. But actually, exactly when we are talking, we can find out there are 365 quarter days. So these quarter days make quarter days make 6 hours. Okay, the quarter day means it takes 6 hours. So for our convenience, these 6 hours are saved every year. So to add and make one full day, so that after 4 years we make these every 4 years when we make these quarter days or these 6 hours together calculated and made it as one day. So this surplus day or extra day is added to the month of February. Sometimes we can find that February has 29 days. Generally there are 28 days only, but sometimes some years we can find February has 29 days also. So this fourth year, every fourth year we can have February 29 days, that is instead of 28 days. So such year is called, such year we can find 366 days. Okay, so that when this surplus year day is added with February 29, then that year we will have 366 days, which we call often leap year. Leap year is the extra one day when we are getting in February, which is called the leap year also. We can find in the ancient Indian astronomer Aryabhatta also had stated that the earth is round and rotates its own axis. Earth is round. In ancient period we had such a great astronomer here, Aryabhatta. He also mentioned that the earth is round in shape and it rotates its own axis. Now we can find here when this leap year occurs in every 4 years. Okay, when every 4 years leap years are occurring. So it is clear that the earth is going around the sun in an elliptical orbit. orbit, okay, or elliptical path, that is called the orbit of the earth. So here we can find seasons. What are occurred? Seasons are changing due to the movements of the earth around the sun. Okay, that means revolution. Due to the revolution, seasons are occurring, different seasons are occurring, winter, summer, etc. So this about the how it causes the different seasons due to the revolution of the earth, we will study in the next class.